To Robotics Robotics, and today we're going to be doing exercise number 4, Climber Hook on FOCDesign.org's learning course. So this part right here, it can be a little challenging, especially for newcomers into CAD, because it involves a decent bit of constraints, and you got to make sure that you use the right constraints and not over constrain it, or you're going to get a lot of red. And it also is good because it shows you different feature scripts like spacers and tubing. But anyways, without further ado, let's just get right into it. So I have here open up the file, and first thing I want to do is just want to sketch, and I'm gonna just choose the right plane here. And next thing you want to do is get yourself a corner rectangle, and make sure it is horizontal to the origin, like so. And a nice thing you can do is you can move your mouse just to like decide which dimension you want to do first. So I come down here, do 14, yeah, that's how long we want the tube to be, and we'll have it be 1 inch up top. So as you can see, it's actually blue, and we don't really like the color blue because you can just move it around like so, and that's not really good. So what you're gonna want to do is you want to use the midpoint constraint right over here. You could use hotkeys if you want, but I'll be trying to tap it so y'all can see where to locate these items. But you're gonna click midpoint, you're gonna click on the line, and you're gonna click on the actual origin, and it's gonna midpoint it to the origin. So that right there is fully constrained, and that means we're good to go into actually extruding this. So we're going to click the check mark here just to say that we're done with that sketch. And now we're going to come over here to extrusion, and then we're going to make sure it's 1 inch. You could just click sketch right over here on the browse toolbar, or you could just click it here, and make sure it is symmetrical so that material is evenly spread out both ways into the plane. So once that's done, you can do a check. And next, you want to come over to your extra features and make sure Tube Converter is selected. And right over here, we're going to want it to be 1/16th wall thickness. And something cool about Onshape is you don't actually have to put the decimal in. You can just put in the fraction 1/16th, and it will automatically generate the decimal for you. So if you're just having trouble actually finding the decimal, just put in the fraction and it will do all the calculations for you. So once that's done, you're just going to want to press top right here. And as you can see, that is now converted to a tube. So now we're going to want to check this because that is all we need. And now we're actually going to make the hook. So for the hook, you want to click sketch. I'm going to use the back side of the tubing like so, and click right here. And first thing we're going to want to do is make 3 holes. So I'm just put a center point circle, and this one's going to be 1.25 in diameter. I'm gonna make another one that is gonna be 0.257 in diameter, and one more over on this side that's also 0.257 in diameter. So I'm gonna press escape so I don't have the dimensions uh, feature used anymore, and I'm gonna switch over to dimensions again actually, because I'm gonna dimension this point to this line, and I'm gonna have it be 1.5 inches away. And next thing you want to do is you want to have press that dot and have it constrained vertically. And vertically, they're going to be 0.25 inches away from each other. So, like so. And then lastly, this one right here, we're going to have press the middle dot into this line, and we're going to make this 1 inch away. So with that now, what I like to do, especially for this part, is like kind of adjust it so it looks a little bit nicer, because it could definitely look a little crazy in some areas, and just to make it a bit good for us, we're just gonna like make it make the alignment a bit better. So next you want to come down here and make sure you select center point arc. Now this part you want to focus on, because you could add unintended constraints that will end up ruining, like make everything red. So what you're gonna want to do is you want to press the center point right here, and you see right here, if I press here, it's gonna create a vertical constraint. So right here, we do not want a vertical constraint, or it's gonna mess up pretty much everything. So you're gonna want to like slightly adjust it to the left, and then you want to click it, and make sure like I don't accidentally click right here, or it's gonna make a horizontal constraint, because you want no constraints at the moment. So we'll create that one, no constraints. Same thing over here. Don't make it vertical. Make sure it's a little bit to the side, and put the second line right here, and then we're going to create one more right here. And this one, however, we are going to have a constraint. So we're going to make this coincident with the first arc we made, And then the next one, we're just gonna have no constraints on this side. And then lastly, this one on the right, we're gonna have a vertical constraint this time. So you can just automatically have the vertical right there. And then the last one we do not want a constraint, so we'll just put it like so to make sure there is no constraints. So next thing we're gonna do right here is we're gonna whip out the dimension tool, and we're gonna move this into be 0.75 so that it is adjusted and it looks more, it's more the dimensions we want. So next we're gonna have these two areas, and we're gonna put zero point 0.5 inches away from each other. And as you can see now, that is looking a bit better. But to make that more, to make that the way we want it to, we're gonna come over here to coincident, and we're gonna coincident this dot to this dot. And as you can see, that is exactly what we want right there. And what we're gonna do now is gonna go back to dimensions. I'm using hotkeys, by the way. You can either press this or just press the D to automatically activate it. And this will be 0.25 in radius. So now what we're gonna do is, again, I'm gonna move this a bit down. It's okay if it like gets a little weird at the bottom. That's fine. That's why we're fully constraining it right now. Is we're gonna have a line go from here to the midpoint, so that now it's midpointed to the constraint. Then we're gonna have it be coincident with this dot right here, and then we're gonna come down, have like an angle over here so that it is coincident to that line in the tubing. Make it horizontal, but this could be a little tricky because we don't want it to be, we only want it to be coincident and horizontal. Sometimes I'll get vertical here for some reason, so make sure that doesn't happen. So press that, and you want to connect this to make it coincident. So that is the general basis of like what we want, but obviously it's not fully defined or anything. So how we actually fully define it now is we come over here to the constraints, and we're gonna use horizontal because these two lines right here, I'm gonna make them horizontal as so. And as you can see, we have a couple black lines now, so that means that that side is fully constrained. Now, this part right here, ooh, my bad, guys. I accidentally forgot. Okay, so this hole right here, there's actually construction geometry. So we're gonna press this right here, or just press the circle and click construction, or you can just tap Q. And this right here will be construction geometry. So with that out the way, we could go back here, and the main one you're gonna be using is tangent, because tangent, it's gonna connect it to exactly when the lines first intersect. So we're gonna make this line and this line tangent, so that's fully defined. This line and this line will be tangent, so that looks more like a hook. This line and that line be tangent, so now that's fully defined right there. And lastly, we'll make this actually this line and this line tangent, so that actually looks like the circle you want it to. And let's also make this side tangent to it, just so it's fully defined and everything. And as you can see, almost everything is now fully defined. But last thing we're gonna do to fully define this sketch is go to dimensions and come down dimension the top to the bottom, and that's gonna be 2 inches. So as you can see, everything is now fully defined, and that's exactly what it wanted to. But we still have to add one more feature. So we're gonna go back to the center point. We're gonna make sure this is vertical to the origin, or to that point right there, and we're gonna make this 0.201 as so. So next thing we're gonna do is fire up dimensions, click up the middle of the circle and the line right here, and make this 0.25 away. All right. And now we're gonna use just linear pattern to make the other four holes that we want, or three, I should say. So we're gonna do linear pattern right here. It's gonna start up top, so make sure you click it so it flips directions. And we're gonna want four holes down, and we do not want these like two other rows here. So we're gonna change this 3x to just one, so it creates just one row right here. And all the holes here are spaced 1 inch apart. We're gonna want to change that to be 0.5. All right, and we're gonna conform by left clicking. And as you can see, the holes are all fully defined. Everything in the sketch is fully defined. So now this is perfect to now check mark this as everything is fully defined. And we're gonna come over here to extrusion and click the sketch, and make sure it's not add, because add, it's gonna think it's the same part as a tubing. Well, this is a whole different part, so make sure it's, you press new, and as you can see, it's now called part 2, and we're going to have this extrude to 3/16. And as you can see, it's automatically converted to decimals, which is perfectly fine. And we're just going to check mark this right as so. So now we have the actual hook made. So what we're going to do now is actually fillet it. So I'm going to open up the fillet feature up here. Make sure our radius is 0.25, and you're just going to use your mouse to come on down, and you're going to want to click this section to fillet it, and then you want to click this section to fillet the bottom. Oops, sorry about that. Yeah, we do not want to fillet that. Okay, so with that out the way, now I could check mark this, and that does our fillet. So next thing we're going to do is actually use the spacer feature. And this feature is really good because it just makes a spacer for you. So you don't have to do any of like the actual CADing for it. It just does it for you. So you just go over here, click the spacer feature right here, and you're going to want to spin this around. Now, I use up the face because up the face is really good here. So make sure you select up the face. It tells me to select the end face first, so I'm just going to select this. And the actual start of the spacer is going to be right on this hole right here. So I click it. Make sure the external diameter is 0.5 of an inch. And that looks good right there, so I'm going to check mark that. And with that, now I could come over here and do the final piece. So I'm going to sketch and create the actual holes on the tubing. So I'm going to go back to the back of this view and make sure I click the actual tubing here. And something good they have to do, you might think, oh, I have to remake all these holes out on this tubing. But no, it's actually feature you could use called project or just the use feature. So I press it right here. It's just this little cube next to text. And then I could click all these and it automatically features them or sketches them onto the plane. So that's all I have to do. I could just check mark that right there. And then now I can come over here to extrusion. Make sure I select sketch. And then we're going to come over here to through all to make sure. Ooh, also make sure it's removed, by the way. Yeah, so with the remove, it's now gone through both sides of the sketch or the feature, I should say. So you can check mark that, and that is exactly how you want the part to look right there. Now, before we go to assembly, make sure you've selected all these parts right here, and to edit material, you're gonna make sure these are 61 aluminum. Check mark that, and do a check mark right there. So that's exactly what we want. And now let's go to the climber hook assembly. And at the assembly, we want to come over and let's go to right here, exercise climber hook. So let's drop all the features, all the parts that we made. We're gonna come over here to group and click all these to group them together so they don't move. They all are united as one. And then we're gonna press the tube, right click, and then make sure it's fixed so this thing is grounded. So I cannot move this, which is really good. So with that, now I'm gonna select the actual hook. I'm gonna press Control C and Control V, or you can just copy and paste it. So, sorry, give me a sec. Control C, Control V. Yeah, there we go. So we're gonna copy and paste the hook, and we're gonna copy and paste the actual spacer. So last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna come over here and we're gonna press just a regular fasten mate. So I'm gonna click just this side of the mate and this side. And as you can see, it's like going through the metal. You don't want that, so you're just gonna flip the axis so it's exactly how you want it. And then lastly, we're gonna want to come over here to this side, press it, and then click the face of this feature of this spacer, and then right there it looks perfect. And to double check our work, here, let me exit out this fastened. We could come over here to mass, and our mass is 564. And if we go over to our reference, the one that they gave us already done, we come over here to mass, look at the reference right over here, it's 0.56. So it's extremely close, if not exactly what it is to the reference, and that is what it should be on the part. So I hope you guys enjoy that, and that is how you make the climber hook. Just make sure when you go over here to features that you go over to your sketch to the hook. Also, you could rename this too. I'm gonna rename this the hook just to make it better for y'all. You come over here to hook and you make sure these dimensions. Oh, main thing too, if you do mess up on your constraints, make sure to show constraints. It shows you all of how it's constrained to each other, like the vertical here, the coincident, and tangent here. But I'm hoping this video helped y'all out and continue y'all in your CAD journey. So let me know what y'all think, and I hope to see you later. See y'all.